3, 2, 1, let's go! Right. I'm the host of the PBE podcast, Troy Tittlemeyer. I'm sitting down at Image 2023. You heard it right. This is the year 2023. When we're riding the razor's edge, we're on the edge of technology and new ideas and applying this to businesses in order for us to not waste any more time. Waste is not just financial waste in 2023. Waste is, I don't want to spend 10 years, 15 years of my life, my career working on this problem if it's not important. If it's not really making a difference. And if we don't ride that edge, we're taking up too much space. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So, sir, please introduce yourself and let's get your story.
Oh, thanks, Troy. Charles Cusack. You want me looking here or here? Charles Cusack.
Yeah.
I've been oil and gas my whole life, pretty much. Right? I guess start from the beginning. I was like, my dad was a geologist, so I was kind of born into it.
Right on.
Went to A&M, got a degree in geology, minor in engineering.
Okay.
My brother's a petroleum engineer.
Okay. Older brother, younger brother?
Younger brother. I'm the oldest of four.
Oldest of four.
From Houston, here.
Born and raised here, Harris County.
Raised, yeah.
Shoot.
Lucky enough to have a little South Texas ranch, so we're in Eagleford there. So
nice.
Just feel like we kind of grew up, in the oil and gas business.
Man.
I used to roughneck.
Really?
Worked in the oil field.
So putting tanks together, flow lines, working on the pump
tripping pipe more, and like working derricks and floors and
hey, man,
all that
I don't
good
know
stuff.
About that.
12-hour days.
Oh man.
Yeah, it was fun.
Golly.
But helped pay the way through college,
Yeah.
So anyway, fast forward and went to work for Gulf Oil. I worked for a bunch of the majors and some of the more smaller companies. A lot of great people over the years.
Yeah.
See a bunch of them here. And now we have our little small company called Recoil Resources.
Recoil, okay.
And we do oil and gas drilling in the Eagleford Shale. We have a field in Wilson County. It produces about 5,000 barrels of oil a day, about 130 wells.
Wow. Horizontals?
Horizontals.
All of them?
Yes.
Wow. So you drilled those from conception to completion, all 130?
We do. We drill and complete and produce them.
Wow.
Try to be the most efficient you can. You try to be low cost but efficient.
Yeah.
And you try to, you take all your learnings and you're continually learning the whole time.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
After doing this for 40 years, you're still learning stuff as you go.
Isn't that crazy?
It is.
Man. So what did your dad do? He was a geologist for a super major? Or?
No, he was an independent geologist here in Houston. Old school, sliding logs on a table.
Oh, man.
Pencil and paper, making maps, selling prospects.
Jeez.
Drilling wells that he had to go get money for and convince somebody it was a place to go invest. And
wow,
it's pretty cool. I got a bunch of his maps still at our office.
Oh man, frame those
yellow
things,
I know I should.
Oh man,
it's pretty neat.
That is really cool.
But what he instilled was the work ethic.
Yeah.
In our family, and do whatever it takes.
That's right. That's exactly right. And how about your grandpa, your dad's dad and stuff? Did it all still trickle down from the oil and gas industry in Harris County, or?
No, they weren't really oil and gas folks.
Okay,
they were
so
other businesses.
Your dad was the pioneer
on the oil and gas side.
Oil and gas,
yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, the history. Yeah, there's something to that, this idea that you're still, no matter how much experience we all have, if we're not, you can be as collective and integrated as possible. There's still just new ideas and slightly something different when you go into that new area. There's still something new to learn with all this. You got fundamentals, you got 40 years experience, and that helps. I guarantee that helps.
No doubt.
But still, you got.
If you ever get to the point where you think you know it all, it's probably time to retire.
Oh man!
Honestly, it'll pass you by in a blink of an eye. You better adapt and keep up with technology.
Yeah.
And there's always new stuff. Look at here at this convention. There's all kinds of new technology and creative people and thinking outside the box. And
Man, we did a Summer Rocks event just recently at the Olympia Hills Golf Course in San Antonio, and the Eagleford's outcropping there.
Right.
But it's a serpentine mud, and so it's the Turonian boundary, which is Eagleford, made 4.5 billion barrels. You're drilling it and producing it at this golf course. It's a serpentine green mud. You can smell the oil in it. It's just amazing story right there. And you're drilling and completing out of that. You're getting oil every day out of that Eagle Ford.
Oh, it's amazing. Coincidentally, I read an article today about the Pearsall Shale. It was written in 2008.
Pearsall.
And they had a map of the United States with all the shale plays.
Yeah.
And the Eagle Ford wasn't even on it.
Man.
It was just a blink of an eye ago. But it was in 2008 when I worked at Petrahawk. We drilled the first discovery well for the Eagle Ford. So I got to give a little shout out to, Floyd Wilson, Dick Stoneburner, Jana Beeson.
Who are these guys?
Greg Robertson.
Geologists?
That was Floyd was CEO.
Wow.
Dick was Floyd was the CEO. Dick was the president. Jana Beeson was a geologist I worked with. Greg Robertson was an independent geologist that brought the idea to us. Our team pretty much collectively, said put the play together. Floyd was like, go, 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 gave us the money.
Oh, man.
And we leased a bunch of acreage where it had never been leased ever before.
Wow.
Down in McMullen and LaSalle counties. And we drilled the first 2 economic wells ever drilled. There have been plenty of wells that went through it, and it always had shows. Most people, like my dad, they considered it a nuisance because you would get a kick a lot of times.
Yeah,
and
these
sometimes
gas kicks, right?
You'd get big kicks, and you could lose a well. You'd sometimes have to set pipe through it.
Whoa.
Cost you a lot more money. And little anybody know that new technology, same thing, could make it economic.
Right. Going horizontal.
Horizontal and putting large stimulations on it.
Right.
That's the 2 big things that changed.
Man. So the Eagle Ford Reservoir and these 130 wells that you guys have, is the porosity and permeability in a specific part of the Eagle Ford lower or upper or the middle? Are you seeing it change over the area?
Well, it changed a little. We don't see a lot of horizontal change. That's the thing about the Eagle Ford. It's very consistent horizontally.
Whoa.
But it changes vertically.
Okay.
So if you're in a horizontal well, there's a big difference between drilling in the upper, middle, or lower part of it. So it will affect performance.
Wow.
But it's very consistent because a very, very quiet energy environment when it was laid down. So it goes for miles, and you can correlate every little blip, typically. Now, it changes as you move into the, and over dozens of miles, but not typically over 20 miles or so. It's about the same.
You brought up the Pearsall horizontal story. I was told that that's really where the Texas Railroad Commission even got an understanding of how we're going to even begin to regulate horizontal wells. It happened in the Pearsall field, is what I was told. That they went out there, they drilled some horizontals early, and then all of a sudden they're like, whoa, we're crossing mineral boundaries, we're crossing surface different boundaries.
Actually, the Pearsall field, it was Austin Chalk field.
Austin Chalk?
It wasn't. There were only very few Pearsall shale wells. It was mostly Austin Chalk. You saw the Austin Chalk boom all across the state is what first started the horizontal rules, and then the Barnett Shale, around Fort Worth. That was the first real shale play where, the Railroad Commission, everybody else started learning stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the first shale play I really worked was up there.
Fort Worth?
Yeah.
Is there some similarities between the Barnett and the Eagle Ford?
All the shales are pretty similar, all in all. They're both very tight, low permeability, low porosity. They wouldn't produce unless you had this technology to do it. And then the Haynesville and the Marcellus, the Fayetteville, the Bakken, which we worked also. It's not quite the same. It has better perm and porosity.
The Bakken does.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's why it's a little smaller frac sizes. You don't need the big giant fracs in the Bakken.
Okay. When you say big giant fracs, what are the differences in sizes? I'm not too familiar with that lingo.
Well, like up there may be 1,000 pounds, 1,500 pounds per foot.
Okay.
Where in the Haynesville now, to unlock they're 3,500 pounds of foot.
Wow.
Big, and that's all money. It goes with that.
Or pretty damn close. Wow. Yeah.
Now, in the Eagle Ford, I think the sweet spot I saw is in 2,000 to 2,500 pounds a foot on most of it.
Okay.
In our field, we've actually gone backwards a little bit. We drilled a whole lot at 2,000, a whole lot at 1,500 pounds a foot.
Yeah.
And we found that the 1,500 pounds a foot are just as good as the 2,000s.
Nice.
So why not save $500,000 per well?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of it's trial and error until you find out the sweet spot for your particular area.
How about the chemistry of the fluids that's carrying the proppant? Has that changed a lot? Is it fresh water, more produced water?
For sure. Yeah, there weren't slick water fracs early on.
Okay.
They used gel and
gels. Yeah.
They used jobs. They were a lot thicker and carried more proppant, but those in general just don't perform as well as the slick water.
Wow.
I think the way I understand more is that you create a more complex fracture system with slick water.
Okay.
So you can get into more little cracks all over the place.
Yeah.
And then get that proppant in behind you and prop them open.
Yeah.
Instead of one big planar open frac.
Yeah. Sheesh. Yeah. Man, that's cool. And so as far as, going through everything you've got, you didn't obviously do horizontals in Eagle Ford your whole career. You were doing a lot of conventional stuff in the beginning of your career?
Yeah, early on.
Yeah.
The horizontals started about 2005 or so for me.
Wow, man, you're a you're a legend, man.
Maybe 2003 or 4, actually.
Really?
But, for the Eagle Ford, our discovery well, like I said, was 2008.
Okay.
Petrol was a little public company, so we felt like we needed to go out and announce it, and we made a big announcement. Then everybody and their brother jumped into it now. And so the competition now, everybody. So while we were doing the gas window, EOG was doing the oil window. So at the same time they were leasing oil, we were leasing gas. Now back then, gas was $7 or $8 an MCF. So we just thought the economics were a lot better than gas.
Heck yeah, it's $7-8 an MCF. Heck yeah.
So it's neat, but it's a gigantic trend. It goes from Mexico all the way over through East Texas.
Have you ever been approached by the Mexicans and said, "Hey, come help us"? When it crosses the border?
I haven't, but a lot of companies have.
You have?
You heard of Lewis Energy?
So
Lewis has drilled wells, I think, on the Mexican side also.
Really?
They have a really good relationship, what I understand.
Really? Have you ever met that guy? I heard that.
I have.
Really? I've been told by many that we need to do a podcast with him.
Oh, you should. He's very interesting. When we're drilling our discovery wells, he had acreage all around there. So he would buzz our location every day in his plane that he pilots. He'd come he was like making sure he'd keep an eye and figure it out. Man. And so, he has a great Eagle Ford position, done very well down there also.
Jeez.
But he was down there for other plays way before that.
Yeah. So when you were doing the vertical and getting into the technical horizontal and the unconventional, right? The true Eagle Ford, unlocking this unbelievable resource that's made 4.5 billion barrels of oil. I don't know if you know that, but the cum production on the Eagle Ford right now, based on publicly available data, 4.5 billion barrels has come out of the Eagle Ford.
That's crazy. I think it's 28,000 something wells, horizontal wells so far.
So when you were going from conventional to the unconventional stuff, where did you see geophysics? Where did you see seismic, microseismic, like that whole space? What were you watching there that you started picking up on? There's value here.
Well, just to back up a little and not to bore anybody, but I started my career offshore. And so the offshore it boomed when 3D came along and started shooting 3D everywhere, and you're chasing bright spots and you could understand structures. Once it got mature, that end of it moved onshore and started shooting modern 3D surveys onshore.
Okay.
And then the onshore boomed because now you could take the Vicksburg and Wilcox and all these formations and you could actually see the faults better.
Wow.
Because you had 3D.
Yeah.
All right. So then chasing bright spots also, Frio and Yewa and whatever on the bright spots.
You know all that stuff.
And then that started kind of like, petering out a little bit. And then we figured out, you could drill the source walk that sourced all of that.
Yeah.
And then now that's a whole nother wave of 3Ds because you had in areas where you didn't have conventional plays, but you got it where they migrated from down dip. And so a whole nother wave of 3Ds. And then every company shot 3Ds across every shale play everywhere. And it was a must. You had to have 3D. Number one right off the bat is you have to know where the faults are.
Yeah.
Because when you have a zone, you're trying to stay in a very thin zone, you can't fault out of it.
Right.
It costs you millions of dollars to fault out of stuff. So you have to understand where the faulting was.
Jeez.
And so when we actually defined our buy area in Hawkville, which was what we called the initial Eagleford buy area. In LaSalle and McMullen County, we had only 2D data and only like 2 or 3 vertical wells. We used that 2D data to do a buyout line based on it, because in that area you could actually see the thickening into the basin. We had a doublet, trough peak, that petered out on the edges and became just a trough peak. So we hit an edge of byline everywhere around there, and that was thickness. And then, so in the big picture, use it to like hone in on where you're going to lease. All right, now fast forward 10 years and everything's leased. Now you're just trying to like drill the best wells you could drill.
Wow.
So you had to have exact verification of the faulting. And then past that, you try to get attributes if you can.
Right, yeah.
And see if there's sweet spots on porosity and things like that.
Yeah.
We never had a lot of correlation with that. Because like I said, it just doesn't change, that rapidly going horizontally.
To see it in the geophysical data, which has a kind of 100-foot by 100-foot discrepancy or whatever.
More or less.
Just blurring the lines a little too much.
All right. Now, and then you say microseismic.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's kind of why we're here.
That's right. Microseismic. That's right.
They're buying us our waters we're drinking.
Cheers to that.
Cheers. All right. So I think it's very important for every field or every little acreage position, or, I don't know, just say dozen times per county to have a good microseismic survey. So, first of all, you have to know exactly the stress orientation. If you think you know it, but you don't know for sure, you better find out for sure the stress orientation.
Wow.
Because you always want to drill perpendicular to maximum stress.
To get the fracs
to get the most efficient. You want that frac going out at 90 degrees, not at an oblique angle.
Okay.
You don't cover as much surface area, and you also cause tortuosity if it's oblique.
So to get your fluid and proppant from the wellbore out to the formation, if you have too much tortuosity, it's
not good on that, and it's not good for the oil or gas to come back in.
It's way too complex. Also, the whole flow, fluid flow.
On a very basic level, you need that.
Wow.
And then when you do complete a well, that you can model how high the energy goes or how low or how wide.
Yeah.
But you can actually see it on the microseismic.
Yeah.
You can see the extent of the breaks, which is the fracs. You don't know exactly what fills up with proppant. You have to fill up the fracs, which these guys do a good job of.
Okay.
Of modeling after you frac it. So I'm going to talk over here in a minute, and I got some detailed slides to show.
Oh, nice.
Show some of the benefits of it. But the well spacing is a real big one.
Okay.
When I was at Petrock, we put a buried array in that these guys did that covered, gosh, I don't know, probably 20 miles or 10 miles by 10 miles.
Wow. What's a buried array? They actually put the geophones, like dug them into the ground?
They dig them in, they leave them there this was going to be a year, and I think they left them in 3 or 4 years. And
just listen.
We sold the company BHP and then Devon also, and they kept it going.
Wow.
So the data they gathered from that was probably invaluable.
Wow.
And so now you change your spacing, you change maybe the amount of energy you frac with. You save millions and millions of dollars over the life of the project.
10 miles by 10 miles they put this array.
Yeah, and I forget the exact. It may have been bigger than that. It was a huge array.
Wow, and you were operating that company that made the decision to go all in on that.
Yeah.
And Microseismic Inc.'s the company that did it.
They did. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. Fantastic. Man.
Are we up against time limit?
Yeah. You got when do you kick off at some point, huh?
At 4, yeah.
Oh, at 4.
I just need to go slam a couple beers before then, but I'm kidding.
We got time then. Yeah.
Anyway, let me give a shout out. Our salesman, Ashley Shaw, was phenomenal.
Is that right?
She's the one that hounded me for years that y'all needed it. And we knew we needed it. The whole question is, it's not super cheap.
Right.
But you have to look at the big picture of what it's going to cost you and save you and your learnings from it. So I think it was worth every penny. But Ashley did an awesome job. Man. The whole company did, really. They stayed on top of it. They're very receptive.
That's awesome.
Yeah, when we needed something, they were Johnny on spot and got it for us.
So when you laid out that 10 mile by 10 mile, let's just say that's the number, how many wells did you already have drilled underneath that?
Oh, gosh, there were 40 probably.
Wow. Already fracked,
and now there's probably 400.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
It's pretty neat.
That was, and it's been listening that whole time for all that, the drilling.
Well, no, they picked it up now.
Oh, they picked it up. Okay. Yeah. So the few years it was laid out,
they learned a lot of data. So on the one we just did a recoil, it was a 3-well pad.
Okay.
And so we laid out a surface array only, because you can do surface array and or vertical wells or a combination. We did surface array, and the data was awesome data.
Sheesh.
Very high confidence data.
Sheesh. And you fracked all 3 of those wells that you had?
We did, simultaneously, yes.
And so you drilled them, you set casing,
all right,
set cement, and then you laid your surface array over the top of that?
Yes, right before we went in to actually complete them.
Okay, so not while you were drilling?
No, just during the fracturing.
And then you had 3 wells being fracked at the same time?
All at the same time, and we actually made a real-time decision to change the operations as we were monitoring that data.
Whoa, and that's how the microseismic... It was pretty good,
and we didn't know we were going to do this.
Yeah.
But one of the wells was a little longer than the other 2. When you start at the very toe on all of them, so you go, stage 1 at the toe of one, stage 2 at the toe of the next one, stage 3 at the toe of the next one.
Yeah.
And you just keep alternating, doing simul-fracs, because you save a lot of money by continuously fracking as you go. So you're doing simul-fracs, but what we noticed is we got to about stage 13 or 14, that when the longer well caught up to the other 2 and now was offset to the 2 that had already been fracked, a lot of that energy was going towards those wells. So they were a drain on the energy.
Oh, wow.
Just opposite what you might think, that they'd be pressured up. But they were pressure sink, or the fracks were getting into those already existing fractures, and it was all tended to go that direction.
Whoa.
So now we caught this well up to where they're all even with each other for the rest of the well.
And that helped. You saw that?
For sure helped. So it may have paid for itself right there.
Oh, no. Yeah, because how many more stages would have been just like gone to nothing?
Well, the well may have been half the well that it would have been.
Yeah.
And if you didn't have that, you would never really know why. Like half the times we don't know why. You speculate, but
something so simple though.
It was simple,
when you
right?
have the data.
So a lot of times, the way I look at it, you don't really know exactly what you're going to use science for.
Yeah.
But you have no chance of using it if you don't acquire it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it just surprises you how many uses you find with it. So anyway,
it's fascinating. Fascinating. What's the future for Recoil as your company right now, or where it's going? You have all these technologies around you. You're just going to keep mastering kind of your position in the Eagleford and keep doing horizontals, keep applying microseismic where you need it. You're just focusing on that?
Now, we're picking a rig up next week to drill 2 more wells.
Wow.
We're about 5,000 barrels of oil a day. We're kind of in maintenance mode for our little group. It's about as big as we have enough money to get to. So we're going to keep it about that and let oil prices kind of stabilize in the 80s and turn around and sell it to somebody and let them throw a lot of money at it and go really grow it to 15,000 barrels a day.
Wow.
And then go do it again, hopefully.
Yeah. I like it. Well, good luck, man. I'm rooting for you.
Appreciate it.
I certainly learned a lot from you in this show. It's fascinating, this microseismic data coming back in real time, making adjustments based on that data, having the confidence you do in the data. I'm hearing that loud and clear from this, and I'm rooting for you, man.
All right, Troy. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir, Troy.
Thanks. All right.
Thank you.